The poems On the Death of Ronald Ryan and A Victorian Hangman Tells His Love are poems written by Bruce Torr about the last capital punishment of hanging in Australia. On the Death of Ronald Ryan was a dream by Bruce Torr explaining the anti-capital punishment known as hanging. He wished that Ronald Ryan was honoured more than with just a shabby ritual. A Victorian hangman tells his love is the hangman telling Ronald Ryan that he wished that he could also honour Ronald more by saying that it could be likened to a wedding and that he wished he had dressed better than in a green jumpsuit with water's goggles and a cloth cap, and by telling Ronald it was not his idea, but the state's. The purpose of these texts is to show the reader the anti-capital punishment theme in both texts. Within these texts, the main point is that people wish that Ronald had a different outcome to his life. They wish that he was not hung, but instead honoured in a different way. In A Victorian Hangman Tells His Love, the hangman says that he wished he was dressed like a bridegroom instead of in a tracksuit, water goggles, and a green cloth coat like some Gillespie. In On the Death of Ronald Ryan, Bruce Torr explains that there was no lawyer to stand up for Ronald, except God. Bruce Torr wishes that Ronald Ryan were honoured more than he was with just a shabby ritual. Some of the emotions that are evoked by these poems can be described as regretful and sympathetic. The audience feels sympathetic for Ronald because of the way that Bruce Torr wrote On the Death of Ronald Ryan. It shows that Ryan was dehumanized and hung for all to see. The structure of On the Death of Ronald Ryan is a one-stanza poem with 18 lines. There is no rhyme to the poem. Similarly, A Victorian Hangman Tells His Love is a two-stanza poem with 36 lines and no rhyme. So both poems are quite long without many stanza breaks. These can be identified as free-verse poems because there is no rhyme or rhythm. The language used by Bruce Torr is chosen specifically to demonstrate to the reader that it is very anti-capital punishment. A phrase which will enable you to anticipate the officially prescribed darkness is one of the phrases in A Victorian Hangman Tells His Love. It uses this language to portray to the audience the plot of the poem, with far more dignity than the shabby ritual. It uses less sophisticated language to connect with a different type of the audience. Torr uses this as a sort of like a slang to show that there is not any formality about being hung, and there is no formal language to the poem. The overall impacts of these two poems is that there was a negative reaction to hanging in Australia from both viewers in the crowd and from the hangman himself. This is the state's idea. He regrets having to hang people and he wishes that there was another action that could be done